Hey everybody, it's really good to see you. Sister Stephanie here. I am so excited that I am joined today by Kerry Pinkowski, who is the race director for the Bank of America Chicago Marathon. Kind of a really big deal. So I'm really excited that he's willing to talk to us. Team Our Lady of the Angels, which we have about 105 runners on the team from all over the country. And so we're really excited to hear Kerry's perspective about some of the things that are going on with the marathon. I think the first question would be, Kerry, is we were just talking a little before. What is like why are you guys, the marathon's extraordinarily supportive of charities, and especially we're so grateful as kind of a smallish, localish charity to have such incredible support from the marathon. Can you talk a little bit about the charity program and why you guys are just so legit about charities, kind of?
Well, and thank you for having me on and talking to your team today, Sister Stephanie. This is a big thrill for me too, because I'm a big fan of yours and the work that you do.
It's so mutual.
This is mutual, yeah, mutual admiration. So here, but no, I mean the marathon, the Bank of America Chicago Marathon is such a celebration of humanity. All the years that I've done this is over 30 years now. So if you want to do the math, you can figure out how old I am. But I think the one thing that has been constant as the marathon has grown is how people are connected to it. And it's a, you know, I guess you can call it an ecosystem, but it's that journey that you go on. You mentioned you have a lot of first-time marathon runners, but people really discover themselves. It's in many cases, it's a challenge of a lifetime. It's a life experience. They connect with people and they connect with themselves. And I've always felt that it's a great platform for good. And when people start running, they become a little bit more disciplined. They become a little bit more conscious of what's going on, aware. And what better way than to connect with charities like your organization or the other charities in the Chicagoland area or across the country. And we've been very successful in connecting our runners and the generosity of their friends and family members and fellow workers to support the program. In 2019, we raised $27,400,000 race morning for about 150 charities. So there is a real generosity there, and it's one of the pillars of the event. So it's important to us that we continue to invite charities to be part of this, and that philanthropic aspect it just runs through the event.
Amazing. Yeah. When you said that number, I got chills. So much money. It's such an incredible witness to the power of the marathon. As a lot of us believe, the marathon is completely transformative, no matter how fast you are or what you're doing. The marathon, once you're a marathoner, you're a marathoner, and it's a big deal every time you run one. So you know more about the course than probably anybody. I would have to say, what's your like number one tip, or like what would you share with a runner who doesn't know much about the course?
I mean, obviously, in the history of the event, one of the great aspects of the Chicago Marathon route is its accessibility. I mean, other than it being a flat course, but you just get a great tour of the city, architecture, the community, the fabric of the neighborhoods, the ethnicity of the community, but it's also very accessible. It's very accessible to friends and family members. So first-time marathon runners that maybe need support, people can get to different locations via public transportation, or they can walk or jog or whatever and get to see their loved ones, which is important the first time out. So I always tell our first-time marathon runners, you're not imagining things. You may see the same group of people 5 or 6 times because it's become a science. And we have a wonderful relationship with the CTA and the information on how to get around the city and cheer on your family members or your loved ones. So I think that's probably one of the most unique aspects compared to New York or Boston, the other Abbott majors that are in North America. They're point to point. So it's a little more challenging to get to different spots to see someone, where ours is kind of out and back, and it's really, you can get inside of the route and go to different locations. So I think that's probably the number one aspect. And the majority of we start and finish in the same place, Grant Park. The Park District has been very generous in allowing us to use Grant Park as our staging area. So the majority of our participants can take public transportation or walk to the start. It's not a hike out to the start or getting back out from the finish area. So
yeah, I've never run Boston, but I've heard all about those buses, and it sounds like a nightmare. So I'm so glad this is just such an easy thing to. It's just so accessible and so awesome for so many people.
It's really runner friendly, and for first time marathon runners, and for like if you're from out of town and you're staying in one of the hotels, it's just a walk. So you can say it's less than ideal conditions, which we have had over the years. People can stay in their hotel lobby or in their room and make their way to the start. We actually have a large percentage of people that are in the later heats that walk over to the 2 mile mark and watch the elites come by and then go over and start the race. So all these little nuances,
that's a great tip.
And that's just baked into the design of the course.
It sure is. No, I love the course. Is incredible. What is, I guess, you've obviously been involved with marathon since the beginning? No, not quite. Not quite the beginning. What number? It was
this will be our 43rd running of the event.
Okay, got it.
I have been doing it now for 32 years, so a big part of that, a big chunk of
huge part of that.
I started when I was a very young guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Would you mind sharing your favorite Chicago Marathon memory, or or something that you'd like to share that kind of maybe exemplifies the experience of the Chicago Marathon?
Sure. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I mean, the elite athletes. I mean, we've had so many phenomenal athletes that have performed in Chicago and have a connection to the Olympics. Sammy Wanjiru, who was a Chicago Marathon champion, Olympic champion, Konstantina Dita, going back to Joan Samuelson. These great performances that we've seen are so memorable. And these individuals that I've been able to work with over the years, the Khalid Kanuchis, Lawrence Chirono, who we just saw in the Olympics, Galen Rupp, who we just saw in the Olympics. And then, I mean, they're just marvelous people, but extremely talented athletes, but just marvelous people and fun to work with. They're so giving and gracious with their time and talking to people. So all of those, you're so happy for the champions, but for me, what's going to be the most memorable is this past year where we had to pause with COVID. I mean, I was completely humbled by the outreach from our sponsors, from our participants, from residents of the city, our volunteers that were really sharing, their heartbreak, as everyone has during this period of time. So many people have missed so many functions and occasions and experiences, but it's building back to that. So I think this year will probably stand out of all the years, and I've been very fortunate to do this year. And then coming back in the fall, and I've referred to it as a special edition or a transition year, but we're gonna work our way back and reestablish ourselves, and hopefully the world and our community swings back to a normal way of life where we can get back to the things that we love to do on a regular basis, which is the marathon.
Right. Yeah, I think this year's going to be a huge celebration of just the fact that we're doing it. That we're able to get out there and do the things that we love to do. A lot of us, which is marathoning. That's so awesome. Khalid Kanuchi was a childhood hero of mine, and one of the reasons that I stuck to running, and I watched that marathon, I believe, when I was 8 years old, when he got the world record, and totally changed my entire life. So the Chicago Marathon is wide. Yeah, the breadth and the influence of the Chicago Marathon has, I think, is so wide reaching and has done so many beautiful things for people's lives to inspire people and just allow them to do amazing things that they never thought they could ever do. I think it's just such a great inspiration for us.